So we're back in the office like we never left. Today we're doing something special. We're bringing a concerned citizen to our podcast because I see that you're doing the same thing as we're doing. We're getting, bringing out awareness to our community, to our listeners, to tell them what's really going on. Because in social media, everything's beautiful. You see all these politicians getting involved, and you're like, wow, they're getting involved, but it's not our case. It's not our case. I met you in the trailers in Sweetwater. You came up to us and you asked us questions, and I told you to go to these events to see if someone can come and help you. And we've been contacted with each other. We've been talking, and I'm super happy that you're here today to talk about the stuff that's going on in your community. So I don't know if you want to tell your followers your name and to what got you involved, what's going on in your neighborhood.
Well, my name is Christy, like I mentioned before, and thank you for giving me the opportunity. It was a pleasure to meet you because this is going to be a little bit helpful with everything that's going on. Well, I live in a community where we are 320 units, and there's 48 buildings involved. And unfortunately, we were not aware of what was going on. We had a recertification that was in process since June of 2023, and there was three papers that were sent from Miami-Dade to the management company, and we were not really aware what was going to happen until it was August of 2024. That's when we received the bomb, to say something, very bad, because that's when they told us that we had to pay some structural and electrical. They have to come with an engineer. So the first assessment we got, it was for $400, and they told us we had a couple of months only to pay that. And that took from August to December to pay the $400. The engineer was supposed to come to our community and look at the structure and electrical, and unfortunately he was not present. I was very surprised for that because who came was an inspector who actually did not have a license. So I was surprised about that because the community owners found out that he didn't have a license. He was giving his car like he owned the property, and he inspected some of the properties, which is legal. Not each unit was inspected, but some of them there were. So eventually they explained to us that he was supposed to come only at the end. So I gave him a call. I did personally called him and asked him why there's an inspector without no license in our community, number one, and why was he's not finished, because we only had until December 31st, and they gave us an extension until January of 2025. So unfortunately, by January 25, they said if everything that had to do with the projects taken to Miami-Dade, if they were not completed, we were going to start having some fines. So that's what happened.
How long have you been living there?
I've been living there more than 30 years. Yes.
And that $400 is apart from paying the HOA too.
You mean the maintenance?
Yeah.
No, maintenance is actually went up last year. They didn't explain to us why maintenance was actually added, and so now we pay maintenance monthly $400.
$400.
Correct.
Oh.
So this $400 has nothing to do with this $400 we were asked to pay for the assessment, the first assessment.
Oh.
So unfortunately, we don't know where those first $400 for maintenance is going, because right now we're having problems with the grass. We having problems with certain things that is not being repaired, or whatever needs to be taken care of, which has to come with the management. But we put that on the side and we focus more on the recertification. So what happened was, with the $400 we paid the engineer. When I called him, he said that he was not going to complete it because he was still pending his last payment. So after that, I never heard from him. So I'm pretty sure they paid him his last payment, because unfortunately by February 7th, that they gave us 7 days extra from the 30 days, there was nothing done. So we started having our first case where it has to do with amounts of fines in Miami-Dade County, which was $510. So we were
Oh my
like, yes. So we were like, okay, what are we supposed to do? That's when I really got involved. Because I said, we're actually getting money, we're paying management, we're paying an assessment, and now we're in a situation that we're gonna have fines that we don't know where that's gonna take us.
Mm-hmm.
The recertification wasn't completed. So from January to February, I hear rumors that we having these fines taken care of, and unfortunately it took a long period of time, like almost a month, for them to pay it. So okay, we were happy about that because okay, that's been taken care of. Now we're gonna actually move on. Well, no, we had the assessment of $1.8 million, which has to do with the structural and the electrical. So we figuring out, they already paid the fine, they already taking care of the Miami-Dade County, taking care of these structural reports and electrical. And unfortunately, I went back and forth, trying to find out to see if the fines, if we had new fines or if it was really getting done.
Right.
And unfortunately, it's today and it's still not done. It was still having problems with the structural and the electrical. So now we have, they already paid the $500, the $400 or $500 that we own, and now we having new fines because this is the third time the reports has been reported, and they're still not passing. They're still disapproved. So when I went to Miami-Dade County, the last time that I went, it was actually a very disappointing situation because they told me the money that we own now, which is our new fines, if we don't pay those fines, we cannot receive the reports. That's what the Miami-Dade County said.
What made you take actions to do this?
Well, actually, I have parents, which the whole community has a lot of seniors, which they're very, they only live out of their Social Security. And they're actually like my parents, they only have Social Security. So I said to myself, if something is going to happen to their homes, it's going to affect most of the people that they live in the community. So I said to myself, if I can help my parents, then I can help everybody else in the community, trying to see what I can do so someone can help us.
What made you take actions to do this?
Well, actually, I have parents, which the whole community has a lot of seniors, which they're very, they only live out of their Social Security. And they're actually like my parents, they only have Social Security. So I said to myself, if something is going to happen to their homes, it's going to affect most of the people that they live in the community. So I said to myself, if I can help my parents, then I can help everybody else in the community, trying to see what I can do. So Is
there a president there in the HOA there?
We have a board and we have a management company services, which they're both involved in every situation, move or.
Oh, so they're working with you guys.
Well, actually not. They're actually the board is telling us that they're taking care of every problem that is going on, and unfortunately they keep saying lies because I've been asking questions and other owners have been asking questions, going back and forth, because we have other situations besides just the $1.8 million. We have a situation that we don't have insurance, where yes, insurance is very important because, as you can know, we live in Florida and it requires to have wind insurance and not hurricane at the moment, according to the board. They're saying that when we're in the season of the hurricane, they're going to add that. And the wind, when we actually talked to the person in charge of the insurance, who's actually the contract, and they told us that we don't have anything else than just fire extinguisher insurance.
Oh, so there's a lot of low income in that neighborhood they live in.
Correct.
So if they don't pay the $400, are they giving them a citation, or what are they doing?
Okay, the first assessment, everybody already paid. That's already done. But when the new assessment came in, which is $1.8 million, that was for per unit. Remember, 320 units, $6,000 per unit we're supposed to pay, which we had from the board. We received a note or a memo saying that there was options to pay a full amount. There was another option paying for 6 months, like $1,000 each, 900 something. there was another option to go to Miami-Dade, where they were actually lending or giving money to the communities with this type of situations. And unfortunately, we had the loan from them, which I always question myself, where are they getting the loan if they don't have any money? Well, some of the owners asked questions, and they said that, they did a loan to lend us the money. And we actually don't have details about that, because unfortunately, every member that cannot apply to the loan in Miami-Dade County, they actually need to apply with them, with the board and the management services. So they're actually paying $113 an ish, and unfortunately they're paying 6.5% of interest.
Oh, wow. How do you believe the HOA can be better served in the community and the residents?
I believe that if we all get together, I'm not sure if I'm answering the right question, but if we all get together and we actually are together to commit to actually fight this, we can actually go to a better, situation in the sense that if the board gets changed, or the services, the management services get, revoked, or then we can actually move on to better services.
Oh, wow. How do you believe the HOA can be better served in the community and the residents?
I believe that if we all get together, I'm not sure if I'm answering the right question, but if we all get together and we actually are together to commit to actually fight this, we can actually go to a better, situation in the sense that if the board gets changed, or the services, the management services get, revoked, or...
Do you think the HOA should be removed, or you think they just need another company?
I think we need another company for the management services, and also for the board, because we tried to do a recall, and the recall we did it within the time being, and we actually collected 184 votes.
Oh, wow.
And yes,
and you have to have more than 51 votes.
Correct, and or half of the community. So we had 184 votes. So when one of the owners that was in charge of the votes to bring it to the management service, they actually made a meeting, and they said 59 of the votes, they were revoked. They were not accepted, and they were not approved because of different things that were going on. So we only had like 5 days by law to come back with those votes and fix them. And by the time we brought them back, what they said to the lady who brought them is that, it was too late, and why she was bringing the votes, because unfortunately they said that they had the elections moved a week earlier, so we were not in the situation of the 60 days.
Have you gone to the politicians to talk about this? Have you gone to the mayor? Have you gone to your commissioner to talk about the situation? Because you guys are not the only one. It's a huge problem that's going on in Miami.
Yes, I have emailed Daniela Levine Cava, and
mayor.
I had to respond with them with the situation, which they were going to get back to me in regards, because they said, HOAs, they don't really work with that. But I did mention to them that at one point, Miss Major Daniela Levine Cava, she helped some of the communities with the hammocks, and she helped them, and eventually she was able to remove the people that were doing wrong.
How you spoke to because you're between Sweetwater and Doral.
Correct. We're Miami-Dade County.
So, you are Miami-Dade County.
Yes.
So, have you gone to your commissioner's office? Sometimes it's easier to talk to your commissioner than the mayor.
Okay, I went to Miss Lombard, Maria Lombard, she's under Daniel Perez, if I'm not mistaken his name, and she gave me some time, which was great, and she said that she was gonna take all my paper, and she was gonna follow through. So eventually she's doing that. I also wrote a letter to the DBPR. I made a complaint about it, because when I saw that it was $1.8 million, I thought it was a lot of money involved for each and every member of the community. And I think, it should have been less money to actually, because we're not, just so you understand, we're not trying not to pay the recertification. We're actually in the positive part of that. But
right.
It's the amount we're worried, that it was $1.8 million, which was $6,000 per unit. So I have gone to Rosy
Cordero.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
The sheriff. It's okay.
Yeah, I've been going to her meetings, and I went to one of her meetings, and I was fortunate to say that I had the opportunity to ask questions, and she actually recommended the investigator, Mr. Fernando, I think, and then he actually commended me to Carlos Luigi, and now the one who's in charge of our case is actually Rocky, Detective Rocky.
Right. And I know you came with paperwork. You came prepared.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Have they helped you? I know they're still like getting information. You got signatures from everybody that lives in those buildings. And have you gotten any answers? It's been already a year that you guys have been fighting this. Has anybody has gone to tell you, okay, this is fraud, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, or you're still like, you feel like you're in like a ball, you're going left, right.
Yeah, we're still in a situation that we don't have any
answers,
fraud, because of the fact that we have the DVPR investigating.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, we think maybe there's something going to happen, because unfortunately, it takes time. Like Mrs. Lombard told me, this is from the legal service commissioner, which is in Tallahassee, communicating with the DVPR.
Mm-hmm.
So the DVPR is supposed to respond. She actually helped me a lot, because she actually rushed the investigator of the DVPR to actually commit a little bit faster than what's going on, because she wants to find out to see if there's any fraud.
Oh. And so the people already paid the $4,000. Like half of the community.
Some of the members, some of the owners, they paid the flat rate, which was almost $6,000.
And if you didn't pay the $400 because you can't afford it right now, what did they do?
If we don't pay them, then actually the process is like we go into foreclosure, I think, and then eventually will be a lien, which that's the part that no one in the community wants to go through that.
And so the people already paid the $4,000. Like half of the community.
Some of the members, some of the owners, they paid the flat rate, which was almost $6,000.
And if you didn't pay the $400 because you can't afford it right now, what did they do?
If we don't pay them, then actually the process is like we go into foreclosure, I think, and then eventually will be a lien, which that's the part that no one in the community wants to go through that.
And so the people already paid the $4,000. Like half of the community.
Some of the members.
Like I've gone to board meetings and they have talked about this. I think this is like the most that everybody talks about Miami, the fraud, the HOA, and I feel they don't do enough for it. I know it's a process. I know it takes a little bit long to do your research and all that stuff. But if it's someone like you that comes prepared, why is it so hard to help out someone? Like, why is it so hard?
I have no idea why they don't go through my paperwork. They have gone through my paperwork. They looked at it, and eventually all they said, if they don't have a fraud, they don't have anybody stealing, they cannot do so much. So I really would like to see if anybody can help us. We actually doing some auditing, because that's urgent for us to be done, because eventually, I don't know if I mentioned this, we had the recertification not being approved by Miami-Dade County, and unfortunately the board, we have like maybe a week ago or 2 weeks ago, we had a meeting where he's actually asking for now that there's going to be painting in the whole community, and there's going to be like water pressure, and they're going to start remodeling the whole building in painting process. So I'm thinking, and I did ask the question, how are you going to be painting? How are you going to have contracts? How are you going to have contractors doing all this work if there's no structural or electrical done or approved by Miami-Dade County? And all they tell us, everything is in order. So I did mention to him, because we were in the news back then in February, we were in the news, and he actually, his response said that everything was in the platform, which we have a platform which they created not even a year ago, where they're supposed to have information before that.
To keep you guys updated with the money.
Correct. And unfortunately, there's only maybe 4 or 5 months. And he said on that talk, the meeting that he had with the news, that everything was there. And unfortunately, I mentioned to him, no, you don't have anything of the Miami-Dade County. Everything of Miami-Dade County that we're being disapproved, you don't have it in the board. A lot of the contractors and contracts, you don't have them there.
Right.
You might have some of them. I'm not saying no, but you don't have everything. And you talk to us like everything is okay. No, everything is not okay, because now, I'm sorry that I'm being a little bit loud.
No, it's okay.
But now that everything is going like this, we're actually having another assessment, which is $35,000, which is talking about some kind of lawsuit we're having with the community, which we were not aware, and this happened since 2022. So all these things that are being happening, it's not like they happened last year or they happened in 2025. They started in 2022 and 2023.
Oh wow, it's been 4 years ago, and we're lucky enough that you guys have noticed this, because there's people that don't notice. People pay an HOA and don't know where their money's going to. I've been living in my house for 5 years, and I always ask questions. Oh, where is the money going to? Because in my neighborhood, the potholes are the size of this room, and when it rains, it gets super flooded, and people don't see it, and their tires get flat. They break, the tires break because of the potholes there is. The same thing as small business. Small business have to pay a camp every 2 years, and the camp is like $2,500. And then when you ask the property manager, where is it going to? Oh, we're gonna paint, we're gonna fix, we're gonna do this and we don't see any changes. So I always ask everybody, ask questions, make sure, be on top of the property manager, because it's coming out of our pockets, and we work very hard for our money. And a lot of small business also had to close down because of the camp. They have to pay a $3,000 camp, and they give them like 3 months to pay for everything, and it's just crazy. And I always tell everybody, get involved, go to your board meetings, go to the meet your commissioners, get their information for stuff like this, because I feel bad that you guys no one's helping you guys. No one, like, everybody's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do an investigation, but it's gonna be 2 years and you're still doing this stuff. And then there's people that have to leave their house. There's people that become homeless because of this situation.
All right.
So
yes, what I was gonna say is that, like you just mentioned, we don't know where the money is. We don't know where it's going, which is a true story for us, because when we started having the assessment, we asked them, why are you asking us for so much money? I mean, you're asking to repair the pool, to repair the clubhouse. What is that? That's not structural, and that's not electrical. So he actually have it on the assessment, which has nothing to do with one thing and the other. Now he's coming with the painting, which we are very, very concerned at this point, because we already started paying the first assessment. So now he's coming with the painting without having the structure and the electrical done. Which the way it works is, like, first you do the washing, the water washing, the pressure washing, and then you do the structural, and then you do the painting. Right. So we don't know. We actually have the amount for just the painting for $995,000, which is a lot of money. So we're asking him, why are you doing this so fast? What's the rush? Why you just don't wait? We told you from the beginning, because they actually don't listen to us. They actually do whatever they want. Every time that they're gonna have a vote about the painting, because that's what they're doing. We just had the meeting last time, and they're telling us, oh no, everything has been taken care of. The painting it's gonna get done, but don't worry about the structure, because it's gonna get done too. But then you go to Miami-Dade and still we're having the same problem. So we don't know where the money is going. We don't know, because this is the other thing. We had the engineer that I mentioned at the beginning. He actually told us, adding to the painting and all the voting, he actually told us about the engineer. That now we have a new engineer. We don't know what happened to the other one. Oh my God. So now we don't know if we're going to have to pay more money towards that, because according to them, there's a consignment. They're actually getting the money from them. Why didn't he get them from the beginning for the $400 that we paid the first assessment? So we actually ask questions. We do ask questions, but at the time we asking questions, we only have a Zoom that we can talk to. And every time we ask questions that they're reliable to us to write notes and actually have some answers, what they do is they mute us.
Oh. In the Zoom?
Correct.
Oh my God.
So you can ask anybody in the community and ask them, have you ever been muted when you're asking correct questions?
Mm-hmm.
And they're actually the majority of them, when they don't like the questions, they just mute you.
There was a rumor that not you guys, but there was a loan and they got signatures for you guys to be responsible of the loan. Is that true?
That's the same loan. That's the $1.8 million.
So you guys signed off that loan and then you guys are responsible to pay it back?
No, what happened? No, we have the assessment that is the $1.8 million. We have a memo from the board, and the board is actually giving us a loan.
Oh, I never heard that.
I never heard it either. Which I mentioned earlier in this meeting, that the loan is actually one of the options that he's giving us to pay that $1.8 million. So the majority of the people qualify for this loan is the people that they're actually seniors and they can't pay, because it's only $113 and it's actually for 5 years. And mind this, anything can happen in 1 year. So if these people eventually they old, I mean, I'm not going to say the word, but I will, they died, then what happens to their homes? They get to keep them. So they're the only ones that they can actually, or the majority of the ones, the seniors, is the ones that we have that loan from them to pay the amount that they own for the $6,000.
Oh my God, that's so crazy.
Yes, I never knew about this loan, and I don't even know if it's legal to have this type of loan. I actually send it and forward it to the detective, so he can review it. And
did the older people notice they're signing something, or they don't need a signature?
No, we mandatory have to do it, because we had less than 2 months to actually agree to this amount of the assessment. So the elderly people, they were literally, one of them, they literally came on the news, but they didn't, brought it up and stuff like that. But unfortunately, now that we're having the second assessment, which is $35,000, they're actually crying. Literally crying, because they don't know. We are paying a $6,000 assessment, and now we're coming with a $35,000 assessment. Where are we gonna get the money? Because they already have a loan with him, with the management services and the board.
So do you think this is all prepared for the citizens to leave in a short time, for them to stay with the apartments? Because now that's something that when you said that, I was like, maybe this is all like a game. They're making these older people sign, so knowing them that they probably can't afford it, so they're probably going to leave, and then they stay with the apartments, they rent in, and they're making money off of that too.
Well, that's good you pointed out that kind of situation, because we had a meeting a long time ago when we actually had the recall, and actually the attorney came out and said, some of you're not going to have a home in the future. So we are really in a situation, I always say it, we're worse than the Titanic sinking, because we were not aware since 2023. They should have told us this before in 2023, that we were going to have a payment, and eventually by now we already have probably done everything that we could to avoid all these situations that, now we have fines. We don't know if these fines are going to get paid. He keeps telling us and promises, the board keeps promising that they're going to pay the structural and the electrical in order for them to pay. So they don't even give you an answer to tell us when are they going to be finishing the painting. That's
so sad. We did an interview to a candidate that was running for Hialeah 3 weeks ago, and I asked him about the HOA, and I asked him why doesn't politicians get involved to help the concerned citizens, and he says they could. Majority of the politicians are attorneys. They have their own firms. Okay. And they could get involved and help the HOA. I'm like, but why? This is the first time I've ever heard an attorney, someone who's running for something, who's telling me that, because supposedly every time I ask them, they're like, we don't get involved in that. We don't get involved. And they could.
Yes, they always tell me that.
They could get involved because majority of them are attorneys and they have their small business, and they could get someone from the staff to work. But it's so sad that these politicians, when they need a vote, they're always on top of you. They're knocking your door. They're giving you a bag. They're giving you this. And then when you really, really need them, they turn their backs on them.
Of course, yeah. I don't think I have a immediately help, everyone that I have talked about, they're telling me, like I also talked to Jackie, which now it's Elvia. Elvia is the one in charge of the in the court for crime, and she told me, no, send me everything. I have sent them all the paperwork to everybody, and all they told me, this is gonna take time. Time for what? This guy is giving us assessments, and we have to pay them, because if we don't pay the assessment, we're not gonna have a home sooner or later. So unfortunately, he's doing whatever he wants until the election comes, which we don't know if the elections are going to be effective
Right.
on our side or their side, because of the fact that he's actually telling us that he's going to continue to do whatever he can to do the assessments.
And I wanted to tell you, go once a month to the board meeting, but if it's not in their agenda, they're not going to even let you talk.
Correct.
And
Like
if
I
you
just mentioned to you,
right, if you go to we go to a board meeting just to sit there just to hear what they're saying. But they're not talking about HOA and it's not in their agenda, they're not gonna even give you a minute to talk.
No, correct. Every time we have questions on the Zoom, and if it's like you an owner, I'm an owner, and everyone is an owner, and even if you ask the same question, because maybe the question you answered before it wasn't accurate, or I didn't understand, or the other person didn't understand, they're actually asking the same question again to make sure whatever they said it was the correct answer, or they don't let you continue. They tell you, we already answered the question, we're not going to answer the question again. We already talked about that question. So they cut you off, and they actually mute you.
Yeah.
Which is, we have told them literally that is rude, that you shouldn't do that, because you're the board, you're supposed to be on our side to listen. Like, we had a situation about the contractors and contracts. I personally was in that situation because I was having a situation about the electrical, that apparently they were saying that we have, the structure and the electrical from the recertification, but there was some electrical that was done. So I took my chances to call the company directly, and the company directly sent the board to answer me on an email, and he actually told me to stop doing that. And I literally told him, I have the right to ask questions.
Of course.
If you're not transparency to myself, and you're saying you have a website where I can get the answers, and the answers are not complete, I'm going to go and ask questions wherever I want, because I have the rights to do that. This country is a free country where you can ask questions. Well, he went further. He actually sent a memo to every community, which I have the memo here, where he's actually intimidating the owners. He's actually telling us we cannot be going around intimidating and stuff like that. So I sent him an email. And I told them, we have the rights, not only myself, everyone. And do not accuse me of calling all the vendors, because I only called one. I literally have the email that he said that I literally called many vendors, and that I was asking questions. And I said, I have the rights. But besides that, just so you know, it was only one vendor. So he literally said, no emails, no calls, no when they come here. And I also sent him something in writing telling him, we have the rights, not myself, but every person in Terranova, to ask questions if the painting of the structure or the electrical or the washer, because we had an incident, which I have a video, where there was an owner that they went in and they were going to do the washing thing in his wall, and then it was very dirty, and they were going to start doing the prime. And he said, he called the contractor or the contracts or the worker, the employee, and said, can you come here? You need to call your owner, because this thing is dirty. And they continue to say, no, the dust just happened in 2 days. So he went with a brush, and he did a video with the brush taking the paint out, and he told them, you need to call the owner, or you need to call the board, or whoever you need to call, to tell them you need to clean this. Because if you're telling me that this is clean, well, it's not, and I'm making a video. So the person kept asking, why are you making a video? I'm making a video because you're saying it's clean.
Right.
And it's dirty. And then here we are in a situation that we're being intimidated, where we cannot even ask questions like that. Because apparently we're intimidating them, well, we're the one who's being affected. Because if you paint or you put prime over a dirty wall, what's going to happen eventually? Everything is going to come out not even in 5 years.
Right. So if right now Living Cow is listening to us, and the commissioners, we would like to say a message to them.
Yes, I would say, please help us. Please try to come and look at our community. Our community needs a lot of help. And if you see what's going on, I would appreciate it that you take at least a day or a couple of hours just to come and investigate and do some research in the situation we're in. Because like I said, seniors are involved and they're actually in a situation that they're going to be without a home. Like myself, I have my parents who they're in their 80s and they cannot be in this situation. They cannot pay their rent. Now with this situation, we're all in a sinking and we actually need the help immediately. So I would appreciate if anyone can help us.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We're going to post this in all our social media. We're going to tag them too where they could listen to us. And hopefully we'll get our results soon.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.